Hello everyone, welcome back to RaceRoom, where you join me on the grid for the start of a 1-hour GT3 endurance at Spa. It's a long overdue return to the sim where it all started for me, and tonight we're celebrating the second anniversary of the SCB community. 26 drivers on the grid. I'm going to be starting from P10. This one is going to be intense. And it's go! 60 minutes of Spa is underway, and there's a jump start for Peter Espinol in the red and white Porsche behind me. However, Espinol's going to have a look at the inside into T1. There's another Porsche coming around the outside. That's Nick Campbell, and there's contact between Campbell and Radislav Piatkowski in the Alpina. Campbell's made a lightning start. He's gone from 16th to 10th. Oh, I almost get squeezed out. I was in the middle, 3 wide in between Piatkowski and Espinol, and that gap just evaporated. I had no choice but to lift. I've lost a couple of more positions. Tobias Nauman's gone past. Stu Barnett's gone past. And I've got a much better run out of Rattle. I'm going to clip the grass as I try and get past Nauman and Piatkowski in one swoop. With 3 wide down the Kemmel straight. Nauman, Piatkowski, me, and Walt Graves is joining in as well in the rearview mirror. Oh, there's contact. Graves has gone. And it looks like another car span too. I think it was Piatkowski. The Alpina has dropped down the order as well. Meanwhile, Tobias Nauman gets past me. Nauman up to 13th. We're down to 14th. Well, I said it was going to be intense, and boy, I wasn't wrong. Well, we're not even half a lap into this race yet, and already I need a breather. Let's check out a replay of the start. Oh, there's carnage in the background. I'm not quite sure what went on there, but as we approach T1, Peter Espinol makes a move up the inside. I try and leave him as much space as I can, but as we exit the corner, I'm 3 wide at this point. Espinol on the right, Piatkowski on the left, and watch that gap just disappear. Yeah, I had no choice but to lift there. Right, what happened on the start? It was Jarrett Will starting alongside me in 11th. Oh, it looks like he just hasn't selected a gear. Several cars missed him, but Jasper van der Vaart wasn't so lucky. And then at the end of the Kemmel straight, we lost Piatkowski. He's on the outside here. Watch him turn in, and he just clips Walt Graves. The pair of them spin out. Well, as we approach the end of lap 1, it's Marvin Mackenberg leading the way from Sarah van Fiepelen in 2nd and Paolo Ambrosio in 3rd. We're in 14th, right on the tail of Tobias Nauman, but I suspect that might become 13th. Yeah, Peter Espinol is headed to pit lane. He's going to serve that drive-through penalty for the jump start. Meanwhile, we're going to leap forward to the end of the Kemmel straight because Tobias Nauman is sizing up a pass on the BMW of Stu Barnett. He's going to be later on the brakes into Lekum, and he gets the job done. Nauman up to 11th, Barnett down to 12th. We're still in 13th. Take a look in the rearview mirror. I've got Paul Hughes right behind me, and he's going to come under attack from Pavel Bogdan, and there's contact. The 2 of them are out, and all of a sudden I've got some much needed breathing room behind me. Yeah, watch Bogdan in that distinctive red McLaren. He went for the gap up the inside. There just wasn't room, and he got sent into the barrier. On board with Bogdan now. There's the gap, but the door got closed, and he has no choice but to hit the wall. Well, it looks like Paul Hughes survived that scare because I can still see him in the rearview mirror. He's just 1 second behind me, while Nauman runs it in really deep into the bus stop chicane there. That's going to give Stu Barnett an opportunity to attack, and as we cross the line, will Barnett consider a move up the inside into the source to try and snatch that 11th position back? No, he won't. In fact, they both run in a bit hot. There might even have been some contact, but sadly, I'm just not close enough to capitalise. But we're right on the tail of Barnett's BMW now. As we charge down the hill, we're going to scream through Eau Rouge. And if I can stay right on Barnett's rear spoiler here, I might be able to get a tow and make a pass down the Kemmel straight. We have lost a 10th or 2. Oh, but Barnett's off the gas. I think Barnett must have been serving a slow down penalty there. We had to react really quickly to get around him, so we're up into 12th place. Hughes has got past Barnett too. They're both 1 second back. The yellow flags are out into Lekum. Have we lost someone else? Yes, we have. Paolo Ambrosio is in the wall. Yeah, Ambrosio was defending that 3rd position from Timo Konecny down the Kemmel straight, but as they got to Lekum, there was a little bit of contact. I'm not sure if the contact came from Konecny, Sven Mackenberg behind, or a combination of the 2. Well, we're not even 10 minutes into this race and already I'm exhausted. We've still got 53 minutes to go. However, the pack is starting to spread out a little bit. Nick Campbell 2 seconds clear, so I might need to do something about getting past Tobias Naumann here. A switch to the inside to try and move into the right-hander. I'm just not close enough to get it done, but we're all over Naumann now, putting him under all sorts of pressure. I'm not sure if there'll be a way through around the next couple of corners, but if I can stay right on his tail, I could be in a position to strike up the inside going into the bus stop chicane to end the lap, but we'll see how we go. We've just lost a bit of ground on him here, but if we can pick up some toe, we should be able to reel him back in. Still a decent amount of breathing room behind, but both Paolo Ambrosio and Adam Komorowski are really quick, so I suspect they'll be reeling me in before too long. Look how much quicker we are than Naumann through Blanchemont. We're now in a position to strike. Can we make the move stick up the inside? I'm just not far enough alongside. I didn't want to take the risk of outbraking myself and causing a collision, so we'll tuck back in behind and come up with another game plan. Well, we're going to jump forward 3 laps because that game plan involved tucking in behind Naumann rather than trying to challenge him and slowing us both down. I hope that Naumann might be able to lead me closer to Nick Campbell, and it has worked. Look how much that gap has closed down. Campbell in 9th, now just 0.4 of a second ahead of Naumann, and I'm just 0.4 of a second behind Naumann. And look in the rearview mirror, we've now got a green Bentley all over us as well. That's Adam Komorowski. We said he was quick, we said he was going to close in, and he has done. And right now we've got 4 cars separated by less than a second. Komorowski moves up the inside into Pujon. He's not quite close enough on, but it's spooked me enough to send me a little bit too wide. That's surely going to be an open invitation for the Bentley to get past into 11th place. I'm down to 12th. And yeah, I knew Komorowski had the run on me coming into Pujon, and as soon as I missed that apex, there was always going to be a huge gap for the green Bentley to get through. And look how close together those 3 cars are in front now as we approach the end of this lap. Campbell in 9th, Naumann in 10th, Komorowski in 11th. You can throw a blanket over all 3 of them, and we've lost Naumann. Naumann ran into the back of Campbell by the looks of it and lost control. He has slid out, so we are up to 11th. Yeah, watch Naumann in the middle of this pack of 3 at the moment. That's Campbell in the Porsche right in front of him, and he just gets a little bit too close. He's hard on the brakes, but he can't get it stopped in time. Well, we've reached quarter race distance, and Marvin Mackenberg is still leading the way. However, it looks like there's a right battle for second place between Sven Mackenberg and Sarah Van Fiepelen. Then we've got Timo Knitzny in 4th, Jeff Eacott 5th, Christian Rutter 6th, Scott Warner 7th, and Anthony Smeeks in 8th. We can't see any of those, but we can see 9th and 10th, Campbell and Komorowski. We can also see Paolo Ambrosio because he's making a move up the inside into Lake Coombe, and I think he might get it done. We're going to try our very best to challenge for this position. We're too wide coming through this section, but ultimately I have to yield. Paolo Ambrosio makes the pass. He's up to 11th. We are down to 12th. Yeah, I'd made a bit of a mess going through Eau Rouge and Radillon, picked up an instant point for an off-track. That cost me a lot of speed down the Campbell Straight, and Ambrosio took full advantage. Here we are going too wide through this section. It's so tricky to do that safely, but we manage it. However, Ambrosio gets the place. Well, we know Ambrosio is quick. He was well inside the top 5 until that spin at Lake Coombe around 10 minutes ago. So the strategy is exactly the same as when I was behind Naumann. I'm going to tuck in behind Ambrosio and hope he pulls me closer to Komorowski and Campbell, because at the moment they are 3 seconds clear. And let's not rule out Stu Barnett as well behind. He's closed right into within half a second. Oh, there's been a collision between Campbell and Komorowski. Oh, Campbell comes across track. Ambrosio's on the brakes and we drill him from behind. Oh, we were lucky not to pick up any damage there. I hope Paolo hasn't suffered any either, but we've certainly come off the worst out of that incident. Both Ambrosio and Barnett have managed to get through. Meanwhile, we've dropped a position. We're down to 13th, and we're going to be under pressure now from JD Finney and Radoslav Biekowski. Yeah, let's see this incident again and watch Adam Komorowski in that green Bentley sizing up a move on Campbell. Now, Campbell takes the defensive line, so Komorowski goes wide in the hope that it's going to give him the inside line for the exit of the chicane, but there's just no room. He spins Campbell around, and that causes a roadblock. Paolo Ambrosio reacted to it far quicker than I did. He managed to get it stopped, but unfortunately I couldn't, and I ran right into the rear of Ambrosio. Yeah, I hope he didn't pick up any damage from that nudge, but watch Stu Barnett in the yellow and black BMW. He profited from that and made a load of positions up. Well, what can we do about this now? We're right on the tail of Campbell's Porsche coming through Eau Rouge, up out through Radalon onto the Kemmel Straight. We're quite close to it. We could pick up a toe here. Have we got enough power to pull out of the draft of this Porsche and make the move up the inside into Les Combes? I'm trying to get alongside and just can't get there. But it looks like Komorowski is going to get the job done on Barnett. Oh, and Campbell's having a look as well. He almost got his nose trimmed off there. Campbell's all out of shape going through Les Combes. We're trying to apply pressure on the outside. Now we're going to switch to the inside. Can we make the move up the inside of this hairpin again? We're not quite close enough. Oh, this is heating up now. End of the lap. Komorowski and Ambrosio are making a break for it. So this is all about the battle between Barnett, Campbell and me. Barnett's wide on exit the chicane. Campbell's going to have a look. There was almost contact, but it couldn't be any closer. The three of us separated by just half a second. Campbell's going to take the defensive line to stop me making a move into the source. In fact, that line is going to turn into an attacking move. Campbell tucks it up the inside of Stu Barnett, so it's Campbell in 11th, Barnett in 12th. We're still in 13th, but we're swarming all over the rear end of Barnett's BMW now as we approach Eau Rouge. And we've just hit 1/3 race distance and the intensity levels are off the charts. This is insane. On to the end of the lap and the battle rages on. Campbell under all sorts of pressure from Barnett as we come through Blanchemont. The yellow flags are out. Who have we lost? There's a cloud of smoke and it's Paolo Ambrosio who's crashed out. Ambrosio in the barrier for the second time this race. He'd done so well to find his way back into the top 10 after that earlier spin. So that's promoted us up to 12th. We're now all over Stu Barnett. Barnett pulls to one side. We're going to get past Barnett. And a glance in the rearview mirror shows that Piatkowski has got past Barnett as well. So I can only assume that Barnett must have had another slowdown penalty to serve. Right, let's check out the replay to see what happened to poor old Paolo. He ended up in the barrier for the second time this race, and it's contact from the green Bentley behind. Adam Komorowski just got a little bit too close and nudges Ambrosio out into the grass. On board with the Bentley driver now. There's the contact. Well, that's really unfortunate for Ambrosio. Well, we're approaching the halfway point of the race now. We're still within 0.6 of a second of Nick Campbell. However, we just can't find those extra few miles per hour needed to get past the Porsche. Speaking of extra miles per hour, look in the rear view mirror. Piatkowski got a much better drive down the Kemmel Straight. He's making a move up the inside into Les Combes for the second time this race. I'm going side by side through this section. Can we hold on to it? We're still side by side. I don't want to give this one up, but we're on the outside for the upcoming hairpin. The odds are against us here. But Campbell will be watching this battle in his rearview mirror and rubbing his hands with glee because it's giving him the perfect opportunity to make a break for it. That gap was 0.6 of a second. Look at it now. He is 2 seconds clear. Well, I said earlier in the race how tricky it was to go through this section too wide, and I found myself having to do it for the second time here. I really didn't want to give this position up to Piatkowski in the Alpina, but the odds are against me having to take the wide line. I tried my best, kept it pinned, but ultimately when we got to the hairpin, there was no way of me holding on. I had to tuck back in behind Piatkowski, and look at Campbell, he's getting away. Rejoining the live action with 25 minutes still to go. Campbell in 10th, Piatkowski in 11th, I'm in 12th. The red McLaren you can see a little bit further up is a lap driver. That's Pavel Bogdan. Now, I'm certainly not expecting Bogdan to slow us down. He's one of the quicker drivers on this grid. The only reason he's a lap driver is because he was involved in that collision in the early stages. But at the moment, we're just trying our very best to stick with the two cars in front of us, Campbell and Piatkowski. Oh, Campbell's lost the rear of that Porsche, and we are going to gain a position. Campbell is out. Yeah, Campbell already carrying a little bit of damage from that collision with Komorowski earlier in the race at the bus stop chicane. Just took too much of the curb there. The car couldn't cope with it. The rear steps out and he spins out of 10th place. 2/3 race distance now. There's a little bit of a gap that's opened up to Piatkowski. 1.2 seconds, although he might have got Eau Rouge a little bit wrong. There was a big cloud of dust, and we are closing right in on him now. If he did take too much of an off track, he may have been given a slowdown penalty too, so this could be an opportunity for us to sneak into the top 10 here. We're right on the tail of the Alpina coming into Lacoon. Oh, the rear gets a bit squirrely. Piatkowski is out wide, he's offline. This gives us a chance to jump up the inside and make the pass stick. We're up into 10th position now. Either Piatkowski lost it there, or he did in fact have a slowdown penalty to serve. Yeah, that was an opportunity for a pass that I wasn't expecting to have. For a moment, I thought I was going to have to go through this section too wide for a third time, but Piatkowski backs off and we take the position. Into the final stages of the race now. There's just 10 minutes to go and we've opened up a 2-second advantage over Piatkowski. A nice little bit of breathing room behind. However, the gap to Scott Warner in 9th is 9 seconds. I'm certainly not going to bridge that gap in the final 10 minutes of this race. Oh, the yellow flag's right. Have we lost Warner? Yes, we have. Look at the relative time coming down. Is Warner going to rejoin before we get past? No, he's not. So that promotes us into an unlikely 9th position. And look, in the rear view mirror, Warner and Piatkowski are going to be going at it now. That is going to play into my hands. We can make a break for it here. Yeah, really unfortunate mistake for Warner to make so late in the race. Just carrying a bit too much corner speed and the rear steps out. And that was pretty much how it played out. I managed to maintain my 9th position over the final 10 minutes under no real pressure. Piatkowski still more than 2 seconds back, and I take the checkered flag, finishing 9th. So yeah, what a fantastic race that was. 1 hour of Spa, and it flew by. Let's take a look at the classified results. There we are in 9th position. Up at the top, Marvin Mackenberg wins from Sven Mackenberg in 2nd and Timo Konitsny in 3rd. Jeff Eacott 4th, Christian Grutter 5th. And then we've got Adam Komorowski 6th, Anthony Smeek 7th, Sarah Van Fiepland in 8th. And 2 seconds behind me, Radoslav Piatkowski rounding out the top 10. But yeah, this was an absolutely tremendous race. Definitely the best race I've had in 2023 so far. It's actually hard to do a 1 hour race like this justice in a 20-minute video. It was so intense, so competitive and so clean. 2 years ago, Ben at Broca Sim Racing, Sven at Zero to Hero and myself created this SCB community for close, competitive and above all friendly sim racing. And although we're not involved in the day-to-day running of it anymore, it's great to see that that ethos is still very much alive. The future of the SCB community certainly is in very good hands if this race is anything to go by. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you back on the grid for the next one. Cheers for now.